This is the Caraway 12-piece nonstick ceramic cookware set, and it is the first time I stopped keeping a bottle of oil next to the stove. Food releases cleanly, and I am wiping pans with a soft sponge instead of scrubbing. I would put this set in the everyday home cookware category. It is for someone who cooks often, wants an easier cleanup, and cares about materials that are free of the usual forever chemicals. It is also for anyone who wants a tidy kitchen without adding bulky racks or a whole new storage system. I cook for my family most nights, and I also meal prep on weekends, so I am hard on my pans. This is the set that has kept up without making me feel like I need professional-level technique just to make breakfast. The design makes a real difference in day-to-day use. Each piece has a smooth ceramic interior that is light in color, which makes it easy to see browning and the point where fond starts to build. The walls are slightly flared, so steam escapes predictably and stirring feels natural. The handles have a gentle upward angle that keeps my knuckles away from heat, and they are long enough to balance the weight of a full pan. They do warm up near the base if I cook for a long time, so I keep a towel nearby when I am simmering for more than 15 minutes. The lids are glass with a solid knob, and they fit well with a little venting around the edge. That tiny bit of escape helps pastas and soups avoid boiling over. The exterior is the part I underestimated. The color is not just for looks. I chose a soft cream that blends with my kitchen, and because I actually like how it looks, I do not hide it. I keep the racks on the counter, which means I am more likely to reach for the right pan instead of grabbing the first thing in the cabinet. The set includes 4 magnetic pan racks that line up like bookends, and a canvas lid holder with hooks that hangs on the inside of a cabinet door. The racks are the unsung hero here. They keep the pans from kissing each other and scratching, and they also let the bottoms dry fully. The magnets are strong, though if you bump the row hard you can shift them a little. I stuck a felt pad under each rack and that solved it on my stone counter. The lid holder has 3 pockets. I used the included stick on hooks instead of drilling, and it has stayed up, but if your door is thin, check the clearance so the knobs do not tap the shelf when it closes. Getting started is simple. I washed everything by hand with a gentle soap, warmed a pan on low, and cooked an egg with a drop of butter. The egg slid off like it was on a tiny sled. From then on, the routine has been consistent. I preheat on low to medium heat for a minute or 2. I do not crank the burner. Ceramic wants a little patience. Once the heat evens out, it holds steady. The set works on my induction cooktop, and it also worked on my mom's gas range when I brought a pan over to help with dinner. Moving a skillet from the stove to the oven is smooth. The set is oven safe to 550 degrees Fahrenheit, which is more than I need for a frittata or a roast chicken finish. Core performance comes down to heat and release. The heat is even. I checked with a thin layer of oil and a sheet of bread crumbs. The browning line was consistent across the pan, with only a mild fade at the very edges. For eggs, pancakes, grilled cheese, and delicate fish, the release is excellent as long as I keep the heat sensible and avoid aerosol sprays. For searing, ceramic nonstick does not give me the same aggressive crust I get from stainless steel, but there is a sweet spot. I preheat a touch longer on medium, pat the protein dry, and leave it alone. Salmon skin crisps nicely, and chicken thighs take on a deep golden color. If I need a restaurant-level crust on a steak, I still reach for stainless steel, but for weeknights this set gives me reliable browning without sticking. Sauces are where this surface shines. Tomato sauce does not pick up metallic flavors, and bechamel stays silky without catching at the corners. I made caramel with plain sugar in the saucepan just to test the worst-case cleanup. It melted, turned amber, and I poured it out. The sticky residue wiped away after a short soak with warm water. That is the theme with cleanup. A soft sponge, warm water, and gentle soap. No metal tools, no abrasive pads. When something does cling, like a bit of cheese from a grilled sandwich, I let the pan cool slightly and then use warm, soapy water. It slides off. I have cooked with this set almost every day for months. Here is what that looks like in real use. On weekday mornings, I use the 10.5-inch frying pan for eggs and quick sautés. I can make an omelet with almost no fat. On busy nights, I boil pasta in the 6.5-quart Dutch oven, reserve a little water, and toss everything back in the pot with sauce. The high sides keep it neat, and the lid keeps leftovers warm when someone is running late. The 4.5 quart saute pan is my one-pan dinner workhorse. I brown chicken thighs, add aromatics, deglaze with a splash of stock, and finish it in the oven. Because the set is oven safe to 550 degrees Fahrenheit, I do not think twice about that stove to oven move. On Sundays, I make a big pot of chili in the Dutch oven, and the next day I reheat it without hot spots. The 3-quart saucepan handles oatmeal, rice, and small batch soups. One of my favorite use cases is a frittata for brunch. I start on the stove in the frying pan with a drizzle of olive oil and whatever vegetables are around. I pour in the eggs, stir once, and move it to the oven for a gentle finish. When it is done, the whole frittata slides out onto a board with a smooth, unbroken surface. No sticking, no torn edges. That is the kind of thing that reduces stress when people are waiting at the table. Another real test for me is fish with skin on. I use the saute pan to cook salmon fillets. I dried the skin well, added a thin film of oil, and placed the fillet skin side down. Medium heat, no moving, just patience. After a few minutes, the skin released on its own. It crackled, but it did not tear. I spooned over a quick butter and lemon sauce, and nothing stuck to the pan. A 2-minute soak later, it looked brand new. There are smart details beyond the cooking surface that make daily life easier. The rims pour cleanly. I can drain pasta water without stray drips running down the side. The lids are interchangeable across the pieces that share diameters, so I do not have to hunt for a match. The storage system is genuinely helpful. Those magnetic racks turn a stack of pans into a neat row. The canvas lid holder puts the lids at eye level when I open the cabinet, and because the glass is visible, I grab the right one on the first try. It sounds small, but those little moments of not searching add up when dinner needs to get on the table. Materials matter to me. Caraway uses a ceramic nonstick that is free of polytetrafluoroethylene, free of perfluorooctanoic acid, and free of other per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, as well as lead and cadmium. I am not a chemist, and I am not making health claims, but I appreciate cooking on a surface that avoids that older category of chemicals. It lines up with how I try to cook and how I try to shop. I also like that the low to medium heat approach not only protects the coating, but keeps the kitchen cooler and uses less energy. It is not perfect. The light interior can stain if you overheat oil or spices. Turmeric will tint it if you scorch it. A paste of baking soda and water brings most marks back, but it is better to keep the heat in check. The exterior can get faint scuffs if it rubs against rough cast iron in a drawer, which is another reason the racks are useful. You do need to hand wash. The dishwasher is not a good idea here if you want the coating to last. Also, I learned quickly that metal tongs will leave little lines. I switched to silicone and wood and have had no issues since. On induction, there is a soft tick if I crank it too high too fast. Stepping the heat up in stages takes the noise away and makes the results more consistent. Even with those quirks, the day-to-day experience is reliable and genuinely enjoyable. The pans heat evenly, they release food with minimal effort, and the storage system keeps the whole setup tidy. I like the way they look enough to leave them out, which means I cook more at home and reach for takeout less often. There's something about tools that behave predictably that makes me more creative. I try a new sauce. I bake a batch of skillet cornbread. I roast tomatoes in the Dutch oven and turn them into soup with an immersion blender without worrying about scratching. If you are someone who wants a non-stick set that works on gas, electric, and induction, that can go from stovetop to oven at real cooking temperatures, and that comes with a storage plan that actually solves a cabinet problem, this is a strong choice. If you need a pan for hard searing steaks every night, keep a stainless steel skillet in your lineup for that specific job, and let this set handle everything else. If you are tough on gear and like to toss pans in the dishwasher, this set will ask you to slow down and hand wash. If you can live with that, the payoff is a clean cooking surface and less time scrubbing. That is my experience with the Caraway 12-piece nonstick ceramic cookware set. It has become part of my routine in a way I notice every single day, from breakfast eggs to a Dutch oven stew to a late-night batch of popcorn. If this video helped you, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with your questions or your own experience. Thank you for watching.